We begin tonight with breaking news. A crash has shut down the westbound lanes of the US 60 at Power Road in Mesa. Our AZ Family News chopper was over this crash earlier tonight. You can see this is causing a massive backup here.
Yeah, for the last hour or so, this is what we've been seeing from the AZ Family News chopper and this live camera on the right side from one of the ADOT towers. Multiple cars we know were involved in this crash. It's not clear how many people were hurt from it. We've reached out to authorities to get some more information on this. So again, westbound US 60 is closed at Power Road because of this crash. You're asked to avoid that area if possible. We'll be sure to let you know as soon as it reopens and once we get some more details.
Right now at 8 o'clock, could so-called doomsday prophet Chad Daybell join his wife in facing charges here in Arizona? The Maricopa County attorney weighs in.
The excessive heat warnings have ended. We're looking for temperatures to moderate this weekend. An update of your first alert forecast.
And Governor Katie Hobbs is being investigated by the Attorney General over what a state senator calls a pay-for-play scheme.
And it's a pretty sad day for Wheel of Fortune fans who just had to say goodbye officially to longtime host Pat Sajak, how he's reflecting on his final spin tonight.
Well, right now that excessive heat warning has now officially ended. It was a hot few days. We can expect the heat to stick around.
We reached 113 degrees today, the hottest day of the year so far. I feel like we just said that the other day, Royal. And we just keep trumping the numbers. A hiker had to be rescued off Camelback this morning. Phoenix Fire says the 68-year-old called 911 saying he felt dehydrated and overheated and couldn't make it down that mountain. Firefighters had to use the big wheel device to help him down. He was taken to the hospital. Let this be a cautionary tale. Hiking trails on Camelback and Payesto Peak are closed because of the heat between 9 in the morning and 5 p.m. Days, especially with excessive heat warnings, because this is what happens. Firefighters say it's dangerous to hike outside those hours. All right, Royal, we really need to warn people because it's heating up fast.
Yeah, and you know what? We are going to moderate a little bit for the weekend. We had another 113 today, but even if we drop off the excessive heat warnings, as we're going to do, that doesn't mean you have to forget about the heat because it's out there, going to be out there for the next 3 months or so. So 113 tied what we did yesterday, though today it wasn't a record. The record 115 goes back to 1985. And yeah, all the excessive heat warnings have dropped off around the state with the exception of up in the Kingman area in Mojave County. Those will drop off in an hour or so. So we're done with the excessive heat warnings for now. The ridge of high pressure that brought us that heat is beginning to shift away. And as it does, more moderate temperatures are going to filter into Arizona. That doesn't mean a big drop off or anything like that. Doesn't mean we're going to see a big change and see a ton of rain into the state. It just means those temperatures are going to come down just a little bit. Highs today, besides the 113 at Sky Harbor around the valley, 110 at Casa Grande, 112 at Gila Bend, 109 at Mesa, Chandler, and Gateway Airport, and Deer Valley had a high today of 107. So, yeah, those temperatures are starting to come down. We'll tell you how far when we update the first alert forecast.
All right, Royal, thank you. New tonight, Chad Daybell's official mugshot in the Idaho Department of Corrections was released after he was convicted and sentenced to death for the murders of his wife and Lori Vallow's 2 children.
Now, his team is appealing this, but as Lori Vallow's trial approaches, could Arizona charges be filed against Daybell as well? True crime correspondent Brianna Whitney has more on what the Maricopa County attorney said today about that possibility.
Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow saga is extremely complicated. Multiple states, multiple deaths, attempted shootings on others, and extreme religious beliefs. Both Lori and Chad have now been convicted in the deaths of J.J. Vallow, Tylee Ryan, and Tammy Daybell in Idaho. But so far, only Lori Vallow is facing charges in Arizona. Now we know there's a possibility of that changing.
It was back in 2019 when Lori Vallow's 2 young kids, J.J. and Tylee, went missing. And just a month later, Chad's wife, Tammy Daybell, mysteriously died. Idaho juries found both Lori and Chad responsible for those deaths. Vallow sentenced to life in prison and Daybell sentenced to death. But this summer, Lori Vallow is set to stand trial in Arizona for incidents that happened in Chandler before they moved to Idaho. She's facing conspiracy to commit murder against her 4th husband, Charles Vallow, who was shot and killed by Lori's brother, Alex Cox. She will also face charges for conspiracy to commit murder against her niece's ex-husband, Brandon Boudreaux, who was shot at by someone in a Jeep, believed to also have been Alex Cox. Cox died at the end of 2019. A medical examiner ruled he died of natural causes. Chandler detectives testified in Chad Daybell's recent capital trial, but he isn't facing charges in these two Chandler crimes as of now. Could that change? Maricopa County Attorney Rachel Mitchell says possibly.
If any additional information came out of that trial or any other additional information becomes available, absolutely they can submit it and we can reconsider it.
As of now, Lori Vallow's Arizona trial is set to start on August 1st, but the county attorney says she expects that to be continued, which means delayed due to the volume of evidence in this case. Reporting in the newsroom tonight, Brianna Whitney for Arizona's Family.
She's a ray of sunshine. She loved to swim. She loved to play with her brother. She loved to garden with her mom.
We are hearing from the grandfather of a 4-year-old girl killed after a suspected drunk driver rear-ended the car she was in. That crash happened Wednesday morning off Hunt Highway and Power in Queen Creek. Police say Lily and her family were stopped at a stop sign when Jason Sanchez rear-ended them going nearly 60 miles per hour. Police say he didn't even try to stop. Police also say his blood alcohol level was nearly 1.5 times the legal limit.
Dad says that he was initially dizzy and disoriented. When he recognized his surroundings, he quickly went to get kids out of the car. A passerby actually got to the kids first, cut seatbelts, and got Lily's brother out.
Sanchez was booked into jail the day of the crash and is facing charges, including a second-degree murder charge. Well, Yuma Sheriff's deputies are investigating a homicide tonight. They found a car partially submerged in this canal here, and nearby was a man's body with gunshot wounds. Deputies have not released any details on a potential suspect in this case, but anyone with information should contact the Yuma County Sheriff's Office. Well, Governor Katie Hobbs is part of a new criminal investigation by Attorney General Chris Mays for what a state senator says is a possible pay-for-play scandal.
The case centers on claims Hobbs rewarded a high-dollar political donor with taxpayer dollars to care for foster kids. Zach Bileski's on this story, joins us live in the newsroom with more details. Zach.
Well, Yetta and Michael, that local group home, Sunshine Residential Homes, is also part of this investigation. According to published reports, the organization is a big donor to both the governor and the state Democratic Party. Over the past couple of years, Sunshine gave around $400,000 in donations to both Governor Hobbs and the Democratic Party of Arizona. $100,000 of that went directly into the governor's inaugural fund in December of 2022, about a month before Hobbs was sworn in. Hobbs is then accused of directing the Department of Child Safety to approve a nearly 60% increase in the daily rate that Sunshine Homes charges to care for a child. Last month, we reported DCS denied contracts of 16 group home providers, which will force approximately 200 kids to find new homes. One of the 16 providers recently denied a contract, says she is deeply disturbed about these allegations.
I do want the truth, and I think many of the other providers want that too, but we do need a better system. Like I said, we've got about 11,000 kids in Arizona in foster care right now. So there needs to be a better system.
And following that report, Republican State Senator T.J. Shope asked Attorney General Chris Mays and County Attorney Rachel Mitchell to investigate these allegations. Governor Hobbs' office says it's outrageous to suggest her administration would not do what's right for kids in foster care and described this as a partisan attack that will end with the administration being cleared of any wrongdoing.
And Zach, who specifically is going to investigate these allegations?
Well, after Senator Shope sent the letter to both the Democrat AG Chris Mays and Republican Maricopa County Attorney Rachel Mitchell, both offices actually responded saying they would be opening an investigation. But today, Mays sent a letter to the county attorney essentially saying the AG's office will be taking the lead in this investigation. The county attorney's office tells us tonight they are reviewing that letter.
Zach Bileski, live in our newsroom. Thank you so much for the report.
All right, still to come, these Arizona teens, boy, are they facing their fears. This is all part of a youth leadership academy, helping teens grow into strong leaders. And we're getting a first-hand look coming up.
immediately I smelled like burning plastic, so I turned the car off. It happened so fast, I mean, everything went up fast.
So that Valley man almost lost his life after his car suddenly caught fire. He says there was an important recall in his car that he was never told about. We are on your side with why these recalls can mean the difference between life and death.
And crews say wildfire burning west of Flagstaff, slowing down a bit this evening, but people are still on standby to evacuate. We'll update you on the Bravo fire.
And we saw the hottest day of the year so far today, with more extreme temperatures expected next week. We're going to let you know when in our first alert forecast. Next.
Good morning, Arizona.
Taking part in the Mesa Police Youth Leadership Academy this week, and the teens can learn from some of the police officers and gain some essential leadership skills.
Students also get to rappel off a high tower in Mesa. Steven Sarabia joined them at the academy this week and faced his own fear of heights.
Nice! Yeah! Dozens of Valley High School students are gearing up and facing their fears by rappelling off a 6-story tall tower in Mesa.
I'm feeling amazing. It's so fun.
Cattery Fire Thunder is one of many teens attending Mesa Police's Youth Leadership Academy this week. In it, students are learning about topics such as distracted driving and substance abuse, all while also gaining leadership and job skills.
I'm so happy. I've been meeting new people, talking to everybody. It's super fun.
This program is one of many that Mesa Police puts out for teens in an effort to reach out to the community and connect with students. And while I was observing the academy, the teens challenged me to the biggest and tallest event of the week. Got my harness on, helmet check, and of course can't forget the gloves. Now it's time for the long trek up the top of this tall tower.
This is a long staircase.
And I did my best to try and keep my mind off of just how far away I was from the ground.
6 stories up. That's only one more than 5.
Let me let you in on a little secret.
It's now a bad time to talk about my fear of heights.
Yeah, you heard that correctly. I got a small fear of heights.
Make it extra safe for me.
Start leaning back, start getting your feet kind of around.
Don't look down. Don't look down.
Yeah, I ended up looking down.
Whew.
And after what felt like an eternity, I made it to the ground.
Woo! Woo!
Fear conquered, and maybe a little bit of the adrenaline went to my head in the meantime.
Just call me Sarabia, Steven Sarabia.
Really just getting over your fears, right? And then having that team to kind of be with you to overcome those fears.
Fire Thunder and the rest of the teens tell me that they plan to take everything they've learned at the Youth Academy and use it in the real world.
So I heard, Yetta, you're down to do it next. That's what I heard.
Did you pee your pants?
Oh, no. No.
Those pants are different.
Oh, my gosh. I was at the academy this week. I shot this earlier this week, okay?
Did this help you with your fear of heights?
Yeah, you know, I can go up to the high things. I'm like a cat, you know, they go up high and then they don't want to come down.
Yeah,
and so,
stuck.
yeah, and so when it came to rappelling, you know, I never did it in Boy Scouts because it freaked me out. And it's just like,
Well, you did well, and so it's challenging.
Yes, and then those high schoolers, I mean, I was watching all those high schoolers do it, so I was like, oh, I got to do it. So I do want to say, you know, if you do have a teen out there and they are deathly afraid of heights, Mesa PD has other programs.
They're not just that one.
Yeah, that they do, and you don't even have to live in Mesa. And so they do things like sports and other things like that. So we have information on those organizations on our website, azfamily.com.
I love the reporter involvement. Good job.
Thank you. Special Agent Sarabia.
Sarabia. Steven Sarabia.
Don't forget it.
That's what I'll call you from here on out. Thank you, Steven, for the report.
All right, tonight on the Fire Watch, we have an update on the Bravo fire burning just west of Flagstaff. Families still on standby tonight to be ready to evacuate if things get worse there. When we were telling you about this fire last night, it had burned about 1,000 acres, but tonight after some new mapping, officials have a more precise number saying it's around 960 acres, so a few hundred-acre difference there. Let's look at where that fire is burning here. It's at Camp Navajo off the I-40 near Belmont. Crews say dry brush and the excessive heat, even in the high country, and the wind, those are really fueling the fire there. More than a dozen helicopters and tankers are hitting the flames with water drops. Crews say forward progress has been stopped. Reggie Rokes works at the National Weather Service and lives in Belmont. He says the best advice for families who are in that standby situation is to just prepare now.
One of my neighbors, she came to me and she's like, I actually have a car, but I don't even have a driver's license, so I don't really know what I would do. And so I told her, I was like, you can just come with me. But it's one of those things, it's like, okay, that definitely needs to be addressed, because this is one of those moments where it's better to have a plan ahead of time.
Yeah, the smoke is expected to stick around the area and even spread into Flagstaff over the weekend. 113 today.
113, two straight days.
I feel like we kind of almost take it for granted after last summer. 113 doesn't sound as bad.
Well, and we shouldn't, because 113 is only 6 degrees cooler than our hottest day last summer.
Yeah.
119. So it's
Was it
like
119?
Yeah, so like if you get in that area, hot.
Yeah.
Hot.
That's it, just hot.
We're dropping below that area for the weekend. That's the good news.
Please.
Let's
Thank
check
goodness.
it. Yeah, check it out. First of all, we are going to start off with the location of that fire just south of Belmont. You all heard all the revisions, on the acreage. It is down below that 1,400 that we were showing you earlier. No containment, but forward progress stopped, so that's very good news on the Bravo fire. Yeah, a little bit of high cloudiness off in the distance toward the horizon in our downtown shop, but just a gorgeous night out there. After highs today that included 109 at Bullhead City, 102 at Kingman, 112 for Gila Bend, 110 at Casa Grande, 109 at Tucson, 108 for Safford, 93 at Payson for a high temperature today. Again, temperatures were down today, and they're going to be down a little bit more tomorrow as we're dropping out of that excessive heat warning. Yeah, most of the state dropped off at 8 o'clock. We're still hanging on to Mojave County until 9 o'clock with that excessive heat warning, though all said and done, we're losing the very serious heat as we speak. Well, now, what are we going to do since we finally got into 110 for a couple of days? On average, we're going to get 21 days of 110 or more. Last year, the record-setting year, it was 55 of them. 55 days of 110 degrees or more, including that streak of 31 straight. And normally we'll get to the last 110 sometime the last week of August. So we're in it for a while, and so let's just, as they say, handle it, right? Handle it. 82 degrees by tomorrow afternoon, early afternoon at Flagstaff, 106 at Gila Bend, 105 at Lake Havasu. Had a news director that used to say that a lot. Handle it. All right, I'm handling it. I said handle it.
It stuck with you.
Oh, no, it didn't. No, actually, that's one of those trigger things. That would be, it stuck with me as a trigger.
As a trigger.
As a trigger. So,
and now you're triggering
ladies
me.
and gentlemen, I was just triggered by me trying to be funny. So, that kind of backfired.
I love it.
That kind of backfired.
Handle it.
All right, so 106 will finish out the weekend. Back to 110, 111 by the middle of next week.
That he had passed away in his mobile home, and it was really hot in there when they finally opened the door.
Meals on Wheels doesn't just provide food to people in need, but are a vital lifeline, especially during these hot temperatures. What they're doing to keep an eye on the most vulnerable.
And the Arizona Rattlers are finding their groove, led by a former Arizona high school quarterback who's back in the Valley for the first time in years. We'll tell you all about him coming up at 8:30.
Sunday afternoon at 1 p.m. Catch your Phoenix Mercury.
Deliver meals to low-income seniors almost every day.
And when the temperatures climb into record territory like this week, these delivery drivers really become a lifeline. Although they're not medical professionals or an emergency response group, volunteers are taught to look for signs of distress or illness when they're out delivering food. Having someone check on the most vulnerable is especially important in mobile home parks, which is where a large number of heat-related deaths happen.
We hear of Meals on Wheels, we typically think of the food, right? The nutrition, but the touch base, the wellness check, that, putting eyes on that person every day.
Okay, let's see.
The group is always welcoming new volunteers. For more information, you can go to azfamily.com.
Well, a Mesa man's car, boy, it went up in flames in just a matter of seconds, and he says there was a safety recall on it that he never knew about. We're on your side explaining the problem and how to prevent it.
And a home away from home, the new safe space for local cancer patients, helping ease the burden during their long treatment process.
I'm not going to do anything flat.
Went up in flames. He discovered the vehicle had an open recall and he never even knew about it.
Pretty frustrating because you can see inside and out, that car was burned to a crisp. So on your side, Susan Campbell is showing us how this can happen and how to prevent it.
Here in Arizona, there are more than 1 million vehicles on the road right now with open recalls. That means drivers either aren't aware of the safety issue or they're putting off the free fix.
I jumped in the car to start it, and I'm like, let me run the AC.
Richard Jimenez was getting ready to pick up his kids, but there was a strange smell coming from the car.
Immediately, I smelled like burning plastic, so I turned the car off.
Within seconds, the car was on fire.
It happened so fast. I mean, everything went up fast.
And now this is all that's left. Richard had just purchased the 2008 BMW from his brother, who owned it for years.
I'm like, there's no way that the car just lights up like that. There has to be something.
Richard and his brother decided to look up the VIN, the 17-digit vehicle identification number. That's when they realized there was an open recall issued in March of 2022 for a problem with an engine component that could result in a fire.
He was like, I wasn't notified. Nobody told me anything.
By law, manufacturers are required to notify owners via first-class mail about recalls.
It's easy for notices to get lost in the mail. They can get shuffled in with what you think is junk mail. And unfortunately, that is not the primary means of communication. It once was. So I think a lot of car owners never notice it.
Carfax's Patrick Olson says there are other challenges getting the word out. And currently there are more than 50 million vehicles on the road right now in the U.S. with open recalls.
The big issue here for a lot of owners, they don't realize their car can be 10, 15, 20 years old. There are still recalls being issued for cars that old.
And often cars that old are on their second, third, or fourth owners. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration tells us there is no requirement for manufacturers to send out more than one mailed letter to the owner of a recalled car. But added manufacturers often send owners follow-up letters, postcards, and other reminders after the initial letter. That's why it's important to check the VIN on your own, whether it's a used car you're considering buying or one you've had for years. You can do it for free at several sites, including Carfax and NHTSA.
At least twice a year, make sure you're taking that check. It costs you nothing. The repairs cost you nothing. And there's a lot of peace of mind in knowing that your car is, being taken care of.
Richard said this was a hard lesson to learn.
It's scary, the fact that I had so much trust in the vehicle for this to happen. It's like, what if I was in there with my kids? And that's a scary part.
We did reach out to BMW to see how many notices were sent related to this recall. They did not respond to that question. NHTSA says it has ongoing rulemaking that would add electronic notices for recalls, but that hasn't happened yet. I'm on your side, Susan Campbell.
Meanwhile, more than 460,000 Kia Telluride SUVs have been recalled because the front seats could catch fire. NHTSA says seat control switches can get stuck, and if that happens, the company says the small motor that moves the seat can keep running and overheat. So this recall involves 2020 to 24 Telluride models. Take it to the dealer to get that free repair.
This week, the U.S. Postal Service is sponsoring Dog Bite Awareness Week. It happens more than you might think. Postal Service data shows Phoenix had 15 dog attacks last year. That is down from 32 in 2022. And across the entire state, 54 postal employees were attacked by dogs last year, down from 78 in 2022. Postal Service workers don't want it to happen, but if it does, they are ready.
But it does happen. From day one, we are trained. Use your satchel, put it in front of you. It's whatever you can do to keep something between you and the dog. Last resort, it's dog spray. The spray will not harm the dog, but it will deter the dog. Well, they want to get that off because it's hot,
So in case you were wondering which city topped the list, LA had the most dog attacks in the country last year with 65 incidents.
Well, going through cancer is difficult enough, but when the best medical treatment for a patient is far from home, it can be even tougher.
One home builder and hospital are making it so that families don't have to worry about where to stay. Alexis Dominguez was in Gilbert earlier today to check out the 16 homes patients will call home.
It hasn't been an easy road for Cecilia Cortez.
She was diagnosed with acute lymphoblastic leukemia in October of last year. Today, she's in remission and in a new space, which for her means a new chance at life.
More peace of mind, and I'm going to be healing more because there's less pressure, there's less worry.
Giselle Quiros has been her caretaker.
It's my daughter, and she is my donor.
Anything from my mom. I love her. She's my world, my role model. She gave my brothers and I a very good example and inspiration that no matter how low life hits you, you get right back up.
Both are in the recovery stage of the bone marrow procedure, which means they need to be within 30 miles of the center. This community features 8 fully furnished homes.
It could be the difference between life and death. Having that, the environment and the support system are critically important in a patient's care journey.
Giving at least 80 patients a year a temporary place to stay while they receive treatment or recover from surgery.
There's no cost, just the peace that's going to bring, the hope that brings. And there's been studies that show that that actually improves the outcome of a patient. So we can literally say these homes are going to improve health.
The Banner Health Foundation also has a fund to help patients and their families offset the cost of hotel stays for prolonged treatment. They have patients from every state, and hotel rooms, even at a discount, can be hard. Patients will need to qualify to receive the temporary housing.
We followed our same process we have for anyone that applies for financial aid in regards to percentage of poverty level. Another criteria obviously is how far outside the reach of the valley.
Patient stays depend on treatment, but an average stay is between 6 and 8 weeks. For Cortez and her daughter, that's time they don't have to spend driving back and forth from Coolidge.
They would have to try to call transportation so they can bring her all the way over here to MD Anderson, but sometimes transportation wouldn't want to come and get her because it's too far. Happy and grateful for everyone who collaborated into this amazing project.
I love Arizona. I've always been an Arizona boy. Just playing in front of the family and friends, can't beat it.
That is Valley native Dalton Sneed. Has the Arizona Rattlers finding their stride right now after starting the season 1-3. The Indoor Football League team now has won 5 of their last 6 games, and now Sneed is being named the IFL's Offensive Player of the Week. Nick King has more from Desert Diamond Arena.
What's it been like for you being back at home?
I love it. Having family in the stands, family's not flying everywhere. All the friends can come in, they're 20, 30 minutes up the road. So it's been great being at home.
The Rattlers got off to an uncharacteristically slow start this season, at least in part because their new quarterback, Dalton Sneed, a Valley native who started Horizon High, missed 5 of the first 7 games. But he's back and clearly healthy now, accounting for 19 total touchdowns in the 3 games since his return.
Guys are getting back on the field, the chemistry's building, team's really getting confident, and it's just taking one game at a time. We obviously know the mountain in front of us and the hole we've put ourselves in.
Rattlers head coach Kevin Guy says they're a different team when Sneed's on the field. They went out and got the reigning IFL championship game MVP to be different in the postseason, after several disappointing finishes in a row, with league MVP Drew Powell taking the snaps.
You know, Drew was hands down the best quarterback during regular season, but for whatever reason, when we got in the playoffs, we had a lot of turnovers, and Dalton does a great job of taking care of the ball and doesn't turn the ball over. You know, we've had the #1 scoring offense 10 out of the last 12 years, and those other 2 years we were #2, so we just got to make sure we take care of the ball, and we'll get the ball in the end zone.
Sneed, now in his 3rd season in the Indoor Football League, has his eyes on the UFL, the CFL, even the NFL, while relishing the opportunity immediately in front of him.
The core of it is really trying to get film to get out, because it's not like you can really make a living in this league, or the living you'd want, so to speak. But in the meantime, like, be where your feet are. I'm here to win a championship and build that team chemistry, not ego-driven, like, hey, I want to make plays to get out of here. I want to make plays because I want my team to win, and I want my guys to rally around me.
In Glendale, Nick King for the Extra Point.
Well, the stamp on your next letter or card could be a photo taken by an Arizona man. We're hearing from him about his unexpected stamp debut next.
It's been an incredible privilege to be invited into millions of homes, night after night, year after year, decade after decade.
I love this guy. It is the end of an era as Pat Sajak says goodbye. Tonight, we're getting a look back at his legendary career, the host of Wheel of Fortune for more than 40 years.
Can you handle it?
The next forecast you hear might go all the way over to my friend Paul Horton's ears in San Diego.
Oh, interesting.
Whoa.
First Alert Explainer.
Hey, Elena here, and thank you for watching us both on air and online. We have some weekend closures we want to help you plan out. One of them being the I-17 northbound. It closed Friday night, and it is going to reopen Monday morning over at Happy Valley Road, and Loop 303 is where the main closure is. So you want to take Happy Valley Road, go up north on Lake Pleasant Parkway, and then go east on the Loop 303 to get around this closure, especially if you're trying to get up to the high country. The other closure that's happening this weekend is the Loop 101 northbound between Warner Road and the US 60. That starts at 9 p.m. and then it doesn't open back up until Monday morning. So you can take the 10 westbound to get around this, or you can take some surface streets like Dobson and McClintock to get around this closure. The last one is over at the Broadway curve. It is being narrowed down to 2 lanes between Broadway and the State Route 143. This doesn't open up until Monday morning as well, so just expect some congestion if you're heading to Sky Harbor from the East Valley.
Life.
In your life, there's one thing that will never change.
The team on your side.
Good Morning Arizona, weekdays from 4:30 to 10 on Arizona's Family 3 TV.
The 4th of July Cadillac CT5 giveaway is happening now at Weeknight Casino Resort. Fridays in June, win cash, free play, and a chance to secure a spot in the grand prize drawing on July 4th. Weeknight Casino Resort. Find yourself here.
Well done, Viv. You got the presents, the balloons, and the Raptor cake. Now how about something to put a smile on your face? Aspen Dental provides complete, affordable care with dentists and labs in one place. Plus, free exams and x-rays for new patients without insurance, and 20% off treatment plans for everyone. Quality care at a price worth celebrating. It's one more way Aspen Dental is in your corner.
Where to go and what to do in Birmingham, Alabama. Personalized just for you. Find your sweet spots at alabama.travel/sweet spot.
Chevy has the SUVs you know and love. And now there's one more, the Chevy Blazer EV with the latest tech. Incredible range, and it's easy to charge. Chevy Blazer EV, Motor Trend's 2024 SUV of the year. When you're ready to go EV, Chevy's got you. The easy-to-own, easy-to-love Chevy Blazer EV. Current qualified competitive lessees can get this Blazer EV LT for around $369 a month without any acquisition fees. Chevrolet, together let's drive.
Hey, you seeing this? Wait, where's the dish? There ain't one.
You're telling me you can get DirecTV, the good stuff, and you don't need a satellite dish? Oh, I used to love doing my business on those things.
You're one sick pigeon. Them dishes kept the rain off our beaks.
We just have different priorities is all.
Satellite-free DirecTV. Never thought I'd see the day.
Well, our lifespans are quite short.
Stream DirecTV without a satellite dish.
I'm gonna do this thing with my neck, just for a bit.
This is Greg Haig, and I would like to brighten your day by putting thousands of extra dollars in your pocket. Go to 72sold.com, put in your address, answer a few quick questions, and get our new higher price on your home.
From midnight tweets to drinking bleach to tear-gassing citizens and staging a photo op, we knew Trump was out of control when he was president. Then he lost the 2020 election and snapped, desperately trying to hold on to power. Now he's running again, this time threatening to be a dictator, to terminate the Constitution.
If I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath.
Trump wants revenge, and he'll stop at nothing to get it.
I'm Joe Biden, and I approve this message.
Put your phone down and witness your Phoenix Rising on Arizona's Family. Watch your USL champions, the Phoenix Rising versus Orange County SC. Saturday at 8 p.m. on Arizona's Family 3 TV and Arizona's Family Sports.
A Sun City West man's photograph was selected for a new U.S. stamp. It's part of a series of stamps featuring carnivals from all across the country. See the picture right here. Bob Davidson took it at Wickenburg Carnival back in 2008. The U.S. Postal Service got a hold of it 6 years later in 2014, but Bob didn't know the picture was going to be used for a stamp. It wasn't until a carnival organization reached out to learn more about the picture that is when he got the news. The photographer of more than 50 years says it's humbling to know his work can now be seen all over the world.
You realize just how few people have had stamps, and to know that you've been chosen, it's really an honor.
To get your hand on one of these stamps, you can check with your local post office. If they do not have it in stock, they can always order it for you.
All right, half of one of the most famous duos on TV said goodbye tonight. Pat Sajak taking his final spin on the Wheel of Fortune.
He announced last year that this would be his final season after 41 years. Vanessa Riza joining us live in the newsroom with his final goodbye tonight.
Wow.
So many eyes on the television screens tonight, you guys, especially here in the newsroom. Such an emotional day for so many people across the country. Pat Sajak has touched so many lives. He's helped teach millions of people the art of solving puzzles.
Well, the time has come to say goodbye.
A record-setting career coming to a close.
It's been an incredible privilege to be invited into millions of homes, night after night, year after year.
For more than 4 decades.
$1 billion!
And more than 8,000 episodes. We've all had the good fortune.
Yeah, who cares?
Of spending our evenings with Pat Sajak.
Here's your new host. My name is Pat Sajak, and I've been fortunate enough to wander onto the set.
His wit and charm jumping off the screen into our living rooms.
The only reason I'm laughing is because your mother is patting my rear end!
You're trying to get Rocco involved in the skateboarding?
Yeah, he's a French bulldog, so large head, short legs, so you can do the math.
That's how I got this job.
And with each spin, bought vowel, A.
Sure, 3 A's.
Solved puzzle.
Gail?
A strange loop wins the Tony.
Yeah, that's it.
And of course, a notable miss or two.
Tavares. Right in the butt?
What?
No.
Sajak's turn as the affable host with Vanna White by his side made him a TV legend.
When I first started, I was so green. You made me so comfortable and made me so confident, Pat. You made me who I am. You really did.
Sajak also spoke to his daughter, Maggie, about the show's staying power.
People come up to us almost every day, sometimes in tears, saying, I used to watch the show with my grandmother, now I'm watching it with my kids, or my kids learned the alphabet from your show, or my mom came from the Philippines and learned to speak English. We didn't intend any of that, and yet we've become this sort of cohesive bond between people and generations and families and friends. That's been awfully gratifying.
Now, Sajak will hand the reins over to a decorated host in his own right as Ryan Seacrest buzzes in for his turn at the wheel.
It really does feel like an end of an era when it comes
Angelique Jackson is a senior entertainment writer at Variety who says Sajak's storied career could be impossible to replicate.
Can anyone else get 41 seasons and pull it off the way he did? I mean, quite simply, no. This is just not the way that TV works anymore. You don't have a game show that is part of everybody's lives when they are a child, and then they are married, and then they are a parent, and then they are a grandparent. This is a total anomaly and really will help Pat go down in the record books.
That he will. Now, despite the very big shoes that Ryan Seacrest will have to fill, he will be guided by a steady hand, Vanna White. She's not going anywhere. She plans to stay on for an extra year, but certainly an end of an era for a game show host who survived 7 presidents, you guys. I don't know about you. I remember when I was a kid, I had the handheld Wheel of Fortune game that I would play. Do you remember that?
I do, but I didn't have one. Now I want one because it's a collector's item.
Right? I know, exactly.
Yes, good stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really nice to see him go out like that because
Touching tribute.
People love him.
But
I love him.
He's not far from Vanna. They only live about 5 miles away from each other.
So they're still hanging out.
There you go.
Very cool, Vanessa. Thank you.
All right, I'd like to make this special announcement. Broadcasting today to our friend Paul and his family in San Diego.
How?
San Diego.
We don't know how.
Are we worldwide now?
That's a little scary.
And
But
by the way, Paul's been taunting all of us. He's out by the beach.
68
beachside.
degrees out here in
he's
San Diego.
He's texting us, oh, I can watch you guys on TV. Jennifer's like, would you get back to the grill, please?
I know. And he goes, you know what my last text from him was?
What?
How hot is it out there?
Yeah, it was hot today.
worst.
113, Paul. Thank you very much. Jake and Samantha keep Dad in line.
Hey,
Okay,
kiddos.
here we go. Kind of weird that we're bumping off the clouds and going to San Diego tonight. That's a strange one. All right, so let's talk about the weather here. We've got partly cloudy conditions, another pretty warm night ahead with a hot day tomorrow. So why not do those coastal location forecasts for folks who are headed out of town? San Diego's going to be right around 68 degrees for a high tomorrow. Huntington Beach at about 70. Rocky Point is going to be near 90 degrees, and San Francisco around 64 for Saturday afternoon. Here in Valley, we've got 106 downtown, 100 at Gilbert, a bunch of 101s at Tempe, Scottsdale, and Glendale at this hour. And we had a pretty quiet day. A few showers in eastern Arizona, starting to pick up some high clouds again from the south. Temperatures were down for most folks a little bit, though today in the Valley, we got to right where we got yesterday, 113. It's 91 at Benson, 87 at Globe, Miami, 97 for Tucson, and 86 degrees at Nogales right now. Well, here's our first alert 7-day forecast. 109 tomorrow. We see temperatures moderate to 106 on Sunday and Monday, but we're going to bounce and pop right back up. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, high temperatures around 110 degrees.
All right, Royal, thanks for that. I'm Derek Stahl. Good evening, everyone. Here's a check on the stories that are coming up new on the news at 9 o'clock. A promising high school basketball star shot and killed. How friends and teammates are remembering the Valley 17-year-old as police continue to search for the killer. We'll have a live report from the vigil in that teen's honor tonight. The Apache County attorney is under investigation. His home and his office were raided by the AG's office. Tonight, we're hearing from the county attorney himself why he left the state shortly after the raid and what he has to say about calls that he resigned. We've got all that and more coming up on Arizona's Family News at 9.
All right, Derek, thank you. And still to come here at 8 o'clock, you're going to meet the 98-year-old still making a big impact on his community, why he says he's not ready to give up his day job just yet.
Your new official.
A Virginia volunteer firefighter is not letting age slow him down.
Tonight, Patsy Montesinos introduces us to him as he celebrates a major milestone, 75 years of service.
At 98 years young, Burton Spike Pugh is still a firefighter at heart.
You would still run calls if you could?
Oh, yeah.
In 1949, he joined the Rocky Mount Volunteer Fire Department when he was 24, and he's never looked back since.
Right now, we got the best fire department we've had to have.
Though he stopped answering calls around a year ago, Spike is actively involved. He participates in trainings, meetings, and special events. May marks his 75th year with the department.
And how do you stay in good health?
Watch what I eat and drink.
Proving there's a place for everyone, from the youngest member at 16 to seasoned seniors like himself.
So whether he's sitting in a chair in the station talking to us or he's in the captain's seat of a fire engine, it really doesn't matter, because if we're willing to listen, he's willing to help us.
At a time when fewer people are willing to put on the boots and helmets, Spike's dedication is that inspiration others need to keep going.
I hope and pray that the generation of the Spike Pews are not gone. You know, he comes from a group of men and women that were as unselfish as you could ever ask any citizen to be.
Spike isn't planning to retire anytime soon.
As long as I can wiggle.
He vows to serve as long as he's able to.